The evening was falling on Sodor. Thomas, Edward, Henry, Gordon, James, and Percy were all stuck in the shunting yards because the points leading to the turntable and timber sheds were broken, and the workmen were working hard to repair it. The 6 engines were all starting to become bored, so he started to talk about the upcoming Halloween celebrations and events.
I heard a little boy on the platform said he's going to dress up as a zombie this year,
said Percy.
Now that I mentioned it, what is a zombie?
Oh, it is a monster. They said to be a human being come back from the dead, said Edward. My driver said he saw a movie about zombies with his wife once. He chuckled. She didn't like it one bit, no, and she didn't enjoy it.
Oh, that sounds scary,
said Percy severely. Henry, Gordon, and James laughed. What nonsense, snorted James. The idea of a human being coming back to life from the corpse is just complete rubbish. Percy huffed, and then he grinned at Thomas.
You're probably right, James,
he said.
The idea of a human being coming back to life from the dead is rubbish, but...
He paused impressively. But what? Asked James.
Well, a human being coming back from the dead is impossible. Somebody else might be,
said Percy. What are you getting on, little Percy? Gordon grunted.
Well,
said Percy,
before I came to Sodor, I made 2 engines in the workshop once. I thought I had to first mend me. They told me I'd tear off a railway far, far away from here.
And Percy began his story.
The railway was a small branch that served some farms and a large iron ore mine. The control of this railway wasn't very kind like Sir Topham had. In fact, he was very cruel and greedy. He hardly spent any money maintaining the engines, and he poured the money into his own pockets too. The engines were always in pain when they worked. The drivers, firemen, and mine employees felt sorry for the engines and their pay. He watched their complaints to the controller, but he didn't care. Soon the farms and mines began to use the roads instead of using horse and cart. And using horse and cart instead of the railroad. Unless the controller did something.
He finally
caved and promised that he would find a solution. And he did.
Percy paused and gave a shudder. The 3 engines stared and shocked.
What do you do?
What do you do? Henry asked.
Well, one night when the engines numbered 2342 was asked to stay in a special set that the controller had reserved for him. The engines who told me the whole story said they woke up in the middle of the night to hear the other engine crying in pain. I went inside his thing freaking on and off, and his screen suddenly stopped. After a few moments, the light went out, and his shed doors opened. They closed their eyes to pretend they were being silly. As they heard the footsteps crunching away, he opened each only one eye each, and someone the control walking back to his office. The engines went back to sleep and thinking it was just some kind of dream.
Percy paused, shuddering. Again.
Oh, how wrong was he? Oh, how wrong were they?
The three big engines stared in horror and from the story.
The next day, the controller met the people who complained at the station.
Ladies and gentlemen, I heard your complaints about the pain of the engines. Rest assured, I've taken steps to fix this. Let me introduce you to the new and improved number 3242. The engine was in the yard. The engines
were in the yard. So what happened next? There came number 3242. Creaking and grinding, like always, with his scratched paint. Man, ghost, and horror. A man gasped in horror. A woman fainted. The controller just chuckled. Where the entrance face used to be, there's nothing but a smoke box door.
I've taken care of 3242's pain. He won't complain anymore. He could still be really useful, he said. The big engines gasped in shock. The idea that the engine once living and breathing was rendered dead, yet still forced to work on like a zombie engine, James said, quivering.
The controller didn't stop there,
ventured Percy.
He kept going, whatever horrible thing he did to render engine with 3242. The engine crews refused to drive their engines after this, but they were replaced with new ones. Crews. People called him a murderer, but he didn't care though.
I am the controller,
he said.
The engines are best seen and not heard. That's all.
He said. That's all he said.
What about the engine that told you the story? Gordon gasped.
Well, his crew said.
What about the engines that told you the story? Gordon gasped.
Their crew saved them,
said Percy.
One day, the crew's flying out and they left the railway. They didn't know where they would go or what they would do. But one thing was better than working on the railway, though. No better than working along the living dead.
There was silence in the yard. Just then, a workman came up, walking up. The points are fixed. You can get back to your sheds now, he said. The three big engines took off quickly. Edward remained behind. He looked at Percy. He and Thomas looked at Percy and chuckled. Once they were out, he said, "Well, Percy," said Thomas, "that was pretty scary," said Thomas. "Do you think we should tell them about the faceless engines?" he asked Edward.
"Maybe some other time. After Halloween,"
said Percy cheekily. And with that, Thomas, Edward, and Percy puffed off to join Henry, Gordon, and James in the shed. Christmas, 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 Christmas.